Hello again. We're still covering the events in all Egyptian governorates. We hope we'll be able to cover all events. After a while, we shall interviews of the arrested people. Please concentrate on what you're seeing. You are having a live transmission or a recorded video clip. Do not listen to people who say that this is a composed image. Judge. Decide by using your own discretion. Our role is to display the true image. We are not orienting you towards one way or another. As you saw in Asbar station, a soldier who was standing on the roof was shot dead while he was pointing his gas rifle towards the air, not towards anybody. Is this a peaceful demonstration? Is this peaceful from MB's viewpoint? It's deplorable to hear people who try to clear the image of MB. When an Egyptian citizen was killed, a shouting of Allahu Akbar was given out. They killed a citizen who did not point a weapon towards you. General Ashraf Amin, a security expert, welcome. I want your comments on the video clip that I insist that we display it repeatedly. The soldier held a gas rifle directed towards the air. I want your comments. There are 2 points I want to mention. You know quite well that I always give facts, not just beliefs. I shall give numbers, studies and facts, figures and facts. We had a meeting before ending the sitting in. We had expectations. I did not have another meeting, but this one. My condolences to the police martyrs, in particular, because they were doing their duty, and the dead bodies were actually hampered with. We send our condolences to their families. At the same time, our condolences to the families of the media personnel who were killed. Secondly, let me thank on TV channels or not. Today in particular, I want to say to them, you achieved high viewership because you are conveying the events with high professionalism. Most viewers support my view. And the English transmission is also effective. We have a new idea that helps transmit the idea. It is a message abroad. The episode scene we are watching has nil results. The gap is widening between MB and the people. Much hatred on reality to MB is increasing. I will answer your question. The armed people were detected by Ministry of Interior, who actually had shooting. We are being actually watched. There are some spies among the Ministry of Interior elements who work and report to MB. The second element is the helicopters. There are also the mobile phone network devices. We have high technology that helps us follow up such elements. What happened to this soldier? It is not a Photoshop video clip. The media people understand this well. The night vision cannot have a Photoshop. We have also some mechanisms that prove this to the whole world. This is not all. We want all private cameras of foreign news agencies are taking part. This is new. We were not able to know that the drama of the victim. Now it is clear that there is an agenda that's being implemented right now. The UN, in UN and in other countries, term what happened as a military coup. We know the consequences. Al-Baradei resigned, so his mask fell down. This was expected. However, this political situation should be left to politicians. Let's talk only security. Please. Let's look at the security situation. We have the police and the armed forces. They are the only elements concerned with the prevailing of security in all directions of the country. Some people believe that some popular militias will help prevail security. Let me know your opinion, because I believe that to secure worship places, it's okay. To secure houses and our own streets, no. But popular militias, no. I reject. Are the militia members good people or not, or are they thugs? Are they MB members, elements? I would like you to explain this. First of all, as for the popular militias, we called for the people to support the police and armed forces, if even morally, by standing in front of houses. We don't want any friction with other elements, but deplorably, some citizens misinterpreted this. Tamarrud or rebellion group also misinterpreted this. We talk, but as for the popular militias, we see in the street are rejected in form and spirit. The Ministry of the Interior urged the people not to form such militias because this could be a pretext that we may find armed elements who can commit crimes. You may stop someone and our media personnel. I want to make clear popular militias outside the residential areas are rejected. I contacted the armed forces and knew that they are responsible for the bigger part of security. They can deal with people on highways. Some back streets are difficult to prevail security in by the armed forces. I will tell you a story that I liked today. In Sohag Governorate, we were surprised. The state performed Friday prayers in front of Sohag Cathedral. The prayer congregation was a human shield to protect the church. This is a unification of the elements of the nation. I would like to thank the MB because they helped people unify ranks. These popular militias are dangerous to spread in streets. Communicate 100 elements were arrested because they were returning from Ramses Street. "43 armed people were arrested in Alexandria. 7 armed people were arrested in Buhaira. 22 in Kafr al-Sheikh. A foreign terrorist was arrested while trying to explode the prosecution building in Matruh. It is a very important governorate that MB is trying to isolate. They stormed the governorate building. They reached Alamein and asked the summer resorters to leave. This foreign terrorist had some devices, bombing devices, and a hammer vehicle that he wanted to use in exploding the building. I have a question. Do you have a problem in the entrance of armed foreigners? Can't we close the gate of entering a foreign terrorist element? How do they enter our country? A Pakistani, for example, how does he enter our country? You initiated a dialogue in an issue that we discussed many times during the 1 year of rule of former President Morsi. Some people came to us to take some papers, some passport papers. The National Security Agency did not actually have freedom to move. Sometimes you receive information about people who are banned from entering the country. While coming on the border, when you're surprised you see that you have foreign nationals arrested. Many foreign nationals were arrested. Also, some Syrian elements were arrested. They came here to Cairo to take part in a fighting. You also have Hamas elements. I have a viewpoint towards Hamas. Many people say that Palestinian is a problem and Hamas is another party. But you can't actually. You can apply one rule. If any Palestinian who enters the country makes any problem, you have to take your measures. But this doesn't mean taking extraordinary measures against Palestinians. Now I have to stop all entries of Palestinians unless they have a security scanning. The group in the video that I saw right now, don't ever think that engineer Shukri Amir, I don't know whether what he says is true or not. We have very little data about those people. Somebody was arrested and he had so and so. So he is being filtered through a discussion. The discussion for us as security is very precise. We have investigation group in public security or national security. They have mechanisms to investigate the people and check whether his sayings are contradictory. They take a thread which they follow until they reach the beginning of it. If he proves to be a true person, they release him. Today, we found an operation, a room of operation in Basatine. It belongs to MB. It has a director. It has a liaison officers. And he has the possibility to contact his elements. They changed into cells, that's to say a group led by a leader. Then you have the mobiles that can be traced in Rabi Adawi and Nahda squares. In order for them to fall, they were actually sitting in a pot which was hard to reach. It was also difficult to get information, but you did not have enough data. Now you can notice we got out of if you can see today, we as security people, our expectation of what happened today is only 16 to 17% of what we expected. We expected burnings and fires and violence and organization and mobilization much higher. What was implemented in reality, as for our estimation, is from 16 to 18%. I don't care about what they say. This is what their potentials. The mobility, the numbers in the street is meaningless to us because they do not have people to mobilize them and direct them. Why? Because their leaders that fled were actually using the websites which are still being inspected. So now they are using verbal messages. Jihad al-Haddad said this, we call him Musaylama al-Haddad. More serious is that they deal with each other through Twitters. Information agencies are following this with high tech. We would like to refer to this in order to regain confidence to the Egyptian citizen. Your police and military are okay. Today I gave a strong message to the Egyptian people. We did not actually expect such a high response from you. We expected more friction. There was friction between us and those in Ramses. They started to disperse and enter back streets. We were afraid because the inhabitants of such back streets were waiting for them. People now consider them as terrorists. In the districts of Qolali and Sabtaya, close to Ramses Square, they tried to burn the prison hospital. In Fayoum, the inhabitants were a defense wall against them. The problem now are the youth, who have an idea like what? While we were young, we had a stereotype of a Jew. This image stayed with us, that a Jew has a long nose. This image started to affect us and we grew up hating the people. The youth, deplorably now, have a stereotype. When you burn, what heroic action are you doing? Is it a heroic story to burn a police vehicle? He is a hero for the MB, but he lost a lot among the citizen in which he is living. The young people have much hatred. Now it's time for them to think of regaining confidence of the people. MB leaders The youth think very highly of their leaders. In Ramses Street near the mosque, I watched some vehicles that suddenly they had many fans. I saw many fans that clapped their hands. These vehicles had leaders of MB or Jihadiyya leaders. I hate the term because they are terrorists, not jihadis. After a while, some leaders got out of the vehicles. The driver was masked and had a weapon. He was walking behind them. They went to the leader. This is Group 95 of MB. Some of the MB 95 elements are foreign. Are they the elements that were given entry passes by Muhammad Morsi or those who came afterwards? Some of them came from in the period of Muhammad Morsi. We were discussing the idea of open tunnels, and when the army was trying to destroy them, the political leadership objected. Why? Because there is a transaction. We don't need much evidence. Some elements entered Egypt through such tunnels. The attraction area for jihadis or terrorists is the north and middle of Sinai, because these are the areas of Balfour Declaration. There was actually disagreement between Hamas and Israel. Once you pressed a button and made them friends, then there is a transaction. One of the items some organizations such as Qada took part in such transaction. Consequently, you heard this from Khairat al-Shatir and Osama Yassin, and some activists, political activists, were tortured by MB95 squads. As for the extremist activities of the national security, they know quite well such elements. MB95 elements are also females. They are males and females. They had some Israeli bullets. The only source of such bullets is Israel. It can't be made in other countries and come to you. So they deal directly with Israel. Suppose that such Israeli bullets were stolen from weapon stocks. They entered Sinai and they came from Sinai to Cairo. Let me disagree with you. Hamas has never been an enemy of Israel. This is the idea that Hamas propagated. They never fought against Israel. They launched very bad weapons or rockets towards Israel. When I tell you about the disagreement between Hamas and Israel, it was a camouflage for Egypt to interfere and solve this problem, and in this case a transaction will be reached. Why? Because Hamas belongs to international MB organization. They don't deny it. So there is a package. So in front of societies, they show that there was a problem that I solved. But we must understand that there is something in return. What is it? The return is the land. And tomorrow history will prove what I say. The elements that were in the cars got out of the cars and toured Ramses. They were greeted by their fans. The question that we need to know the answer of after this break: were such elements detected? Were they identified? How about the foreign ones? Do they belong to Alban Mujahideen or Afghan Mujahideen, Chechen Mujahideen? Those who Mohammed Morsi released some of them from prisons. Mohammed Morsi also gave visas to non-Egyptians to enter. Why don't we declare such names clearly so that Egyptians will, especially hesitant ones, know what is happening? Is it violence? Who is the victim? Let's declare the names. Mr. X belongs to an international organization. He practiced such violent acts outside Egypt, and that such elements entered Egypt by help of Morsi. Those are the elements who burn Egypt right now. I want to know the answer to this question, but after the break. We are still together. Let's welcome again the security expert. These elements that appeared in the streets, who were warmly welcomed by their fans, they had their heads kissed by their followers. They are either Egyptian or non-Egyptian elements. You said that some of them were given the chance by Morsi to enter the country. Why don't we announce this by name? This was given a visa. This had a burden, a presidential burden. Those who came back from Albania, Afghanistan, Chechens, Safad Abdel Ghani, Asim Abdel Magid. Where is he, by the way? I don't know. Neither do I. What's your explanation? Let me tell you something. I'll not be true if I say that we have 100% information against in our information agency. But in order to tell you the truth, what is being detected now, or the intelligence agency, exceeds 80% of what is in the Egyptian land. These elements are divided into those who were pardoned one way or another last year. They are quite well known, but we don't know where their whereabouts. There are some places in Sinai, although Egypt has supremacy over every part of Egypt. In fact, we lost supremacy over some parts of Egypt, but the armed forces is trying to regain full supremacy because security and information tasks must always be rebuilt. The nature of Sinai is different. It's a desert area, a tribal one as well. It has its own customs and traditions. There are tribes who control them. As for the Sinai tribes, were ignored. This gives a passive effect. We do not actually cast any doubts on their affiliation to Egypt, but they have bitter feelings that they are being ignored by the government. As for the people who were pardoned, Mr. Youssef, are not few. A group of them came from Albania. Another group were members of Qaeda. organization. They were living in Pakistan. When some of them went to Kosovo, and some of them belonged to them, you don't have full information about them. As for the MB95's code, by the way, this term is not accurate 100%. We had information that we had a major part of it. We had information about major part of it. Such codes are not efficient enough to be a phobia. They were meant to give you a phobia. The Egyptian people is different. It has actually a broader culture. They have a great love for their country. The Egyptian people are difficult to allow the events that took part in Algeria or Syria to happen in Egypt. They, by instinct, they have an affiliation towards their country.
The military has for a very long time. Maybe it's the oldest army in the world. So we have a long civilization, and I don't want to talk about that a lot. We have a long history, but we have entrenched roots in reality, and therefore it's difficult to be penetrated. And as a society, as an Egyptian society, even when the Muslim Brotherhood agenda, the international organization, tries to lead the boat, they mislead it because they don't have the code breaker of the Egyptian citizen. So what happened actually, whatever its magnitude is, this is a huge mistake. Let me please allow me to talk about our understanding. You want to tell me what are the outcomes of what they did today? Tell me. The international, so whether it is international or on the local level, let's analyze the outcome. How many martyrs? The martyrs today of the police are 60. Today only. Today only. No, today since yesterday and today. God bless their souls. Do you know the magnitude of hatred and the number of churches that have been burnt? I think they're more than 18. The last figure that I got was that. Maybe it is more. The number of fires. What is the outcome? Schools, institutions. Do you know that after we speak about that, once again, the Egyptian people regained the trust that they are a minority? The amount of individuals who came to Ramses Square with the numbers that the people saw. I'm not talking as we as security were analyzing the exact figures. We're calculating the space and dividing it. No, they're minority. They are minority, and this means that we have to they are now going to be neglected. They have to come back to us, because now when we analyze the whole picture, there's a lot of retreat when it comes to Muslim Brotherhood youth. The ones who are there, the youth, are less than that in any previous protest, and therefore they started to think, it seems, to some of the individuals of Muslim Brotherhood, and this means that they have started to rethink the situation. This is not fear, no, but now hatred has started to increase, and the outcome is zero. No, actually, once again, the gap is increasing between the people and between this group. This allows us, or casts a question, by the way. I don't like interacting with the others as if they are stupid. And Omar ibn al-Khattab, God rest his soul, to identify the way my enemy thinks is half of my victory. Of course, there has to be amongst the local leaders or the international leaders of this organization, they have to understand that more violence and more terrorism will increase the gap between the organization and the society. The increase of blood will increase this gap, and it is not there. They will be clashed, and our neighbor is from Muslim Brotherhood. Bring him. This is extremely dangerous when it comes to the society. But no one can no one read this image? Can no one read this picture? There has to be someone who is wise. There has to be. He has to understand that this is a wrong deed. Let's look at the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood who were there. These are maybe limited in mindset, but maybe the person that we have in the a little bit highest category or a higher category is Mahmoud Hussein. There were certain individuals, or Mahmoud Izzat as well, but those are their highest abilities. So we're sure the contaminated way of thinking is very easy, but to have a strategy and to have a scenario, you have to be extremely intelligent, and you have to know that everything you're doing is like a billiards game. It gives you the outcome that you want with a specific angle, and with a specific angle you can actually score the ball in the pocket. So you have to put into your consideration that they're thinking in the traditional way. As I gave you the example, like the thief who steals washed clothes. Sometimes in some of the criminal cases, when we were investigating, when he is a non-traditional thief, we had to exert more effort than the traditional ones, because that for them this brings a good outcome, and that's why doesn't mean that I am more intelligent than he is. No, not at all. But so that they can think properly, you have to understand their way of thinking, whether they are extremely intelligent, 50-50, or not intelligent at all. Let's not talk about the analysis. I want to take you to a very important outcome, and I'm sure that there are some of the analysts, and I used to work with Major General Belter, who was one of the most important major generals, and this was one of his works. He always had in mind that whoever he's confronting is more intelligent than he is. We always think in his methodology and taking into consideration that he is more intelligent than him. When we started analyzing outside the picture, I think personally a lot of people, they are a group, the ones of 65, the ideas of Sayyid Qutb. But when I come out of this local framework and look at the international organization, whether Tunisians, Jordanians, or even Hassan Malik, who represents the organization far from the 65 individuals, yes, they failed. But the ones who are outside, he understands, he's broad-minded. Yes, sir, I even told you that once bring someone from the United States to interact with crime here, he won't be able to investigate. We don't know how to do the same thing there. When they put a plan or a specific scenario, he gives you only the basics, the broad lines, the headlines, and then the internal organization starts doing this with specific mechanisms. So one of the main mistakes that they came to the presidency too early, because they didn't know, and also that they chose a president who is actually limited in his capacity. But they said, let's run into the presidency elections, and this was an outcome, and I hope that I'm not mistaken, because Baradei at a certain point withdrew, and this was a huge one to face. He has a lot, he came outside of the contest. So we found that the Murshid said more than once that we're not going to go for presidency or have someone on our behalf. He put an alternative. If it was al-Shatir, it would have been a longer breath, because I think he would have been professional. He wouldn't have clashed, or he wouldn't have taken the meaning and implemented it in a wrong way. There was a lot of things about Khairat al-Shatir. There is a group for Khairat al-Shatir, and a group of individuals who were imprisoned tried or see that there has to be a bargain to stop this and to secure the rest of the group, so that the institution or the organization continues. If I am in Khairat's shoes, I would do the same thing, and I will start again. Abdul Min'am Abu Futuh did the same thing in the 80s during the period of Omar al-Tirmisani, the Murshid. He is a person who I respect, but Abdul Min'am, with all due respect to everyone, was working on resurrecting the group. Abdul Min'am Abu Futuh, Khairat al-Shatir. There is another group as well who work like al-Biltagi, Asam al-Aryan. They work with the popular. They are the people who feel that I'm happy, people are clapping their hands for me, so we're going to continue on. Do you think that there is some sort of division? This is one point of view, that there is a division inside the Muslim Brotherhood. I would like to stipulate what you're saying, because also what we're seeing over these 2 days, it is a new bargain to reinstall them or to reintroduce them to the picture, to participate in the political life, and to achieve this theory that you're talking about, so that there would be a feeling of a return. And maybe I even mentioned that al-Baradei said, gave them the kiss of life when he said that when he resigned. It is also, maybe, let me tell you, every day we discover new things, and this can be pressures, not for the return of Morsi, but pressures so that they are included and that there would be a secure way out provided. Loss of lives, the idea is, of course, we are all in the hands of God, the political loss also, but the society now, the issue is now they hate them tremendously. But now when they're talking, they're not talking to us, they talk to the international community. And even, by the way, I'm going to go off point for a while. Please allow me, I thank KSA. I thank KSA, and I think King Abdullah's speech was perfect. I was in one of the channels at 10 minutes past 3, and I said that there should be not financial support, but psychological support, like KSA, who has the ability to control because of their weight in the European and the American society. And I asked for that explicitly, and it was extremely fast. Of course, it is not only what I said and they responded to it, but also because the KSA, Emirates, Bahrain, Jordan, but the speech that was delivered by His Excellency the King, a good analyst can identify a number of messages that are extremely strong if you look at what was given. Let's take the end of the rope. It is known, or as we are accustomed, or as we have learned or seen or witnessed over the past years, that the KSA does not go against the American will in anything. But on the 16th of August 2013, the king of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia delivers a short speech. We can't say it seems like, but it is clear that it is a confrontation against the American will, and that it signals that we are not going to listen. When I heard it, I said that this imagination or whatever comes out of these words, where were you? Where were you for a long time? Where were you? We're now ready to have again truly an older sister to come at the front lines of the Arab countries, that you think that we are always follow the Americans, that we are scared. We are saying we are supporting you. It is not an issue of money. It is, we are going to create an independent Arab community. We're ready to provide a new environment in the area. The independence of the Arab decision in Egypt will come once again to take its position, to assume its role. And when King Faisal was there, God rest his soul, in the 60s, maybe it was heading in the wrong direction until the 70s. But after that, the kingdom was unable to get rid of what he did. Maybe some of the Saudi Arabian individuals would not agree with us, but we had Naif in one of the situations, the Prince Naif, and he said that Muslim Brotherhood did not come into one of the countries unless they have ruined it. It was clear that King Abdullah, that the kingdom is the head of the GCC, that the kingdom is now putting the picture in front of the Arab world. Let's follow suit the older sister. Maybe I'm a little bit, there's some disagreement from my point. King Abdullah is loved by Saudi Arabians. When I go out for Umrah or small pilgrimage, his people really adore him as a king. They even won't allow anyone to say anything whatsoever. I'm only saying this as an observer to things and a listener. When you meet anyone, they always state poetry about the king. He has information that the Saudis love the Egyptians. And they have also, when I talk with them, when I go to the Umrah, everyone sees the reality, the facts. Falsification is not really something that they admit. They feel that this is the will of the people. So to start with, he felt his people, let me be clear. He accepted his feeling that people see that he feels his people, there is no gap between him and his people. The closest king in the Arab region to his people is this man. Let me ask you a question, a very important question. We're going to stop our colleague Ahmed Min'am, reporter of Al Watan, and he is a dear colleague from in front of Al Fath. We want to see the image over there. There are individuals inside. Are they hostages or from the Muslim Brotherhood? I think the Muslim Brotherhood, and I think the ones who were leaving, they disappeared inside the mosque. Ahmed, welcome. Hello, Mr. Sharif. How are you doing? And the people around you, can you give us an image, a picture? I'm available at the moment in Ramses in front of Al Fath, and I'm from, there are tens of soldiers from the police, and there are heads who are trying to convince the individuals inside Al Fath Mosque to come out. One of them has asked the people inside to pray two rak'ahs or four, the individuals outside from the area who are waiting for the people inside to come out. The police was able to bring out two individuals from the mosque, but until now there are numbers. I don't know how many exactly they are. I don't know accurately the figures for the people who are in the square, but the police were capable of bringing two only from Ramses Street sides. or actually Abdul Khaliq Sarwat, the door that faces Ramses building, there's a huge car that was brought here in front of Al-Fath Mosque so that individuals who are inside would be taken out to security. The situation now that the security is asking the people who are praying to come out of the mosque so that he would be able to react. People inside the mosque want to pray. They want to pray to God 2 or 4 rak'ahs, and the security is saying there is no obligatory prayer now, and therefore please come out. The head of the police, who is negotiating with them, with the individuals inside, when he asked when someone asked for prayer, he said through the microphone that the mosque is not only for you, and please open the mosque because we also want to pray with you. There are attempts to bring out the individuals who are inside the mosque. I want to understand. The second point you said, there are people, resident individuals who are standing. Yes, there is a huge number, maybe there are hundreds around the mosque of Al-Fath. Some of them I want to tell you that the security started to bring some out, and that is what makes the residents scream and chant the name of Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and some of them are swearing at the people inside the mosque, and this is not correct. The security should ask the people that each one of them should go back home, and it is not their job to stand in the street. The question I wanted to ask you, is there any sort of individuals who have been wounded or individuals who have lost their lives? When it comes to people who died, what I have heard that inside Al-Fath Mosque there is a number of I'm talking about is there any exchange of fire? No, till now the security has not shot any live ammunition, and they're trying to take the residents far from the mosque. The vehicles have been moved outside of the boundaries of Al-Fath and its fence, and so that they are asking people from the residents to go back home so that they would be able to interact, and they're asking the people inside the mosque to open the door so that they would be able to arrest the individuals who have been found guilty. They are not asking them to go home, but they are asking them to take a step further. The correct thing is that they have to go back home, because if the armed individuals inside the mosque are going to fire live ammunition, we don't want any people to die. And as long as there is civilians, this also cripples the hands of the police, because they are held as hostages, and it becomes a hostage situation, and security would not be able to interfere by... I can hear someone shouting. What's happening? The people around the mosque are asking to end the people, to bring the people inside out. What? There is new things. Before you close, what are the new things? He hung up. I don't know what is the new. We have a live image now from the location. We will talk to Ahmed Min'am once again to try and find out. Sir, the floor is yours once again. Al-Fath Mosque, this started at 6 just before Al-Maghrib prayer, and they continued throughout Al-Maghrib prayer, and there was we were concerned, so we wanted them to leave, because the problem is that the more you go into the period, then you're seen, and we're concerned about the individuals, because and that's why we're trying to take the residents of that area far. We don't want to lose lives neither on this side, neither on the other. So when we try to bring them outside, so people would also be aware of this, because there are individuals that we know that have weapons, and they're inside the mosque. It reminds us of as soon as they finish, they say Allahu Akbar and they start praying again. But however, we're saying that they're praying, and this is their full right. The last thing that I received from the Ministry of Interior, that even taking them out, there might be private cars that will take them to a secure area after talking with them and after identifying, and if they're families, they will definitely be taken home. And this is what we have put in our consideration, because we know that their blood is also Egyptian blood, so that no one would talk about this. Police, ladies and gentlemen, work in favor of the Egyptians, but whoever is going to use weapons, we are going to interact according to the procedures. This is what is known item 245 of self-defense, allows anyone to defend himself using weapons. If I see someone shooting someone else, I have the right to shoot him, even if I'm a citizen. Can you imagine? So this is known, and this is we have to provide for the rule of law to end the chaos, but it doesn't mean at all, as some people say, assassinate them or kill them all or get rid of them. No, he's an Egyptian, and I am sure, and the majority, we're looking for he's looking for something, but he is unaware. Your Excellency, Major General, thank you very much for your presence with us, and I also would like to thank you. I'm happy that you have invited me. And the blacklist, did they not carry it out? No, as long as I'm here, it has not been carried out. Hopefully it will end, and I still have to say to the Egyptian people, your security, your safety is there. Sometimes the curve goes up and down. Be pessimistic, or when you get from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Emirates, stance from the police, to the extent that today one of the officers, one of the deputies, when they were taking out the fire in the Arab contractors, he got shot, and I don't really understand what's the outcome, or the outcome at the end. God willing, we're going to take Egypt out of this. And again, I would like to tell people, I don't want you to be very optimistic. We want you all to be logic, because I need the people with me over the coming period. And I also would like to clarify the Turkish movies, please, like An-Nahar, the Tuk situation, and all of the TVs. The TV is the decision owners to that. People are going to stop to watch. Let's take a position, a national, that we are not going to work with those countries that have sort of been against the will of the people. We want to all be in one position. Did you see how the number of individuals, we don't want hatred to increase. We want to have a unification between us and our brothers and sisters, and that this is Um, I'm sure that this will all end. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and we pray to Allah that everything ends and that Al Fath Mosque's issue ends, and I hope that they come out, because hopefully they will. We will excuse our spectators. We will leave you with some of the videos in our coverages on both on TV and on live, English and Arabic. The word to the people against terrorism and some who are stupid, and the nation has rejected them.